The Big History of Insulin.
Insulin plays a very important role in our daily lives without anyone even noticing. It is a hormone made in the pancreas that regulates carbohydrate metabolism. Apart from being the primary agent in carbohydrate homeostasis, it has effects on fat metabolism, and it changes the liver's activity in storing or releasing glucose, and in processing blood lipids and in other tissues such as fat and muscle. Without it, our bodies would never be able to function well. Sounds complicated, but to sum it all up, without natural or genetically engineered insulin, we would all die.
In a world.
Before insulin, before mankind, before the world even came into existence. 13.8 billion years ago, time started with to be specific, the Big Bang, when all energy and matter was created. In the first second after the universe began, it was extremely dense and the surrounding temperature was about 10 billion degrees Fahrenheit. The cosmos contained a vast array of fundamental particles such as neutrons, electrons, and protons.
State that nearly 14 million years ago expansion started way earlier. Began to cool, the autotrophs began to drool, Neanderthals developed tools, we built a wall. The pyramids, math, science, history, unraveling the mystery. It all started with a big bang.
Immediately after this, the four major forces were created, and everything began to expand rapidly. 380,000 years later, the universe finally cooled down enough for atoms such as hydrogen and helium to form, which would then become the building blocks of everything.
200 million years later, changes in density caused atoms to clump together and soon form stars. Because of high temperatures and pressure in their cores, stars began to fuse hydrogen into helium. Later in their lifetime, bigger stars such as red supergiants, which are tens to hundreds of times bigger than our Sun, created heavier elements up to iron. The rest of the chemical elements then emerged due to supernovas, the result of a death of a star, and were then hurled into space. Through accretion, the growth of particles into a massive object by gravitationally attracting more matter, came the formation of our planet, solar system, and what we know now today as Earth, as well as the building blocks of life. Life on Earth had different stages, but began as single-celled organisms about 4 billion years ago. They multiplied fast in ocean vents and had a large number of offspring. They evolved into multicellular eukaryotes, changing and adapting over time from bodies of water to land and into a diverse range of organisms, with the help of natural selection that made the adaptation more complex every time. But skip ahead a few billion years, and heterotrophic life emerges on Earth. These new beings start to ingest carbohydrates and sugars that require insulin to transport the sugar to their cells. And then came a wide range of species of humans. Humans as they are now first appeared on Earth around 250,000 years ago. And along with the appearance of humans and all animal life on Earth came the importance of insulin. Diabetes has been around 2,500 years. Throughout history, people have called it many things, and it left people emaciated with them unable to process food or drink. The person would then have an early, certain, and painful death. It wasn't until the 19th century that people could actually do something about it. As the 19th century came to an end, the 20th century commenced and diabetes was recognized as a brutal killer by the world's population. Victims of the disease had no chance in living a few months after incubation period when the symptoms began to be seen. With no solution, the problems rose each year. Problems worsened when the nations entered financial dilemmas due to the outbreak of World War I. This resulted in a cutoff of any type of scientific research. Doctors around the globe tried to uncover the mystery of diabetes, and each researcher's contribution built upon the next. But even if this was so, they achieved nothing beneficial. Doctors began to prescribe diets that could only prolong their deaths for so long. 1889, Germany. A physiologist and physician showed that if the pancreas was removed from a dog, the animal got diabetes. This, however, led nowhere because they couldn't find a way to isolate a substance that would lead to a solution. So finally, after many scientists' failures, in 1920, a military surgeon, Frederick Banting, interested in diabetes, tried finding a solution. He tried finding a way to extract the hormone insulin from a living pancreas. So the failure of scientists' research wasn't all useless. #collective learning. Warning, I want to say no animals were harmed in the process, but that would be a lie. ... They died for the greater good of the human race. Anyways, with co-discoverer Charles Best, they started their experimentation on 10 dogs, and with their failure, they had come to the resort of having to catch stray dogs with their lack of supplies. In 1921, they isolated insulin and successfully tested it on diabetic dogs, lowering its blood sugar level. The first insulin shot was discovered in 1922, and Banting's techniques were improved so they could extract insulin on demand. The discovery of insulin was a complete success, and it was mass-produced. With this, diabetes was no longer a death sentence. Over time, with America rapidly changing in terms of technology and social lifestyles, so were the lives of diabetics. Diabetes care has improved with many of the technological advances in the field, from improvements in insulin pumps and infusion sets to the implementation of continuous glucose monitors. Technology is helping deal with diabetes easier than ever before. The future is bright with new inventions and ideas. Maybe one day we'll work together to finally find a cure. So just keep in mind, without insulin, diabetic or not, you would be dead. So be happy your pancreas works and artificial insulin was discovered, because without it, we and all animal life on Earth just wouldn't exist.